Okay. Well, I have a green dot. Yes. Yes. I have green dots. So I think it's working. Hello. Having okay. Yay. All right. Okay, guys. We're going to try this one more time. Gotta love Mercury retrograde. Beckett, would you be willing to shut my door? Thank you. Okay, that was fun. Nothing like technical difficulties to slow you down and help you to focus. So, all right, let's try this again. I started the live, and thankfully, someone was here to say they could not hear me. Thank you, Margot and Sarah, for that. Okay, so what I was sharing is this. In today's live, what I want to do is I want to talk in more depth about the present collective energy because it's very unique and a lot is happening, a lot is going on. So I'm inviting the questions today through the live to be related to the topic. So things I want to know, questions you can ask is pull your astrology chart. Where do you have Uranus and Mars and Gemini in your chart? What house? If you want to know more about that, if you want to tell me where your particular placement is, and we can talk about how that influences you. As I go through the discussion, if you have any questions as it relates to this topic, put them in the chat. The other thing, just like a housekeeping thing I wanted to share, is I've been kind of finding my way through doing these lives and finding what systems work for me. And I found that it is a little more challenging for me to read through the comments for questions. I love it when I have the questions in advance because it allows me to have a little bit more of a clean structure to reply on the live. So what I'm going to do for moving forward in the future is on after the present live. So by tomorrow morning in the community thread, I'm going to start putting posts for you guys to post your questions there. And then that will be the first place I will look for the lives to answer questions. So that would be where you go. If you have a question, you can put it there if you are watching it in the replay. And then when I come back to do the live, the next week, I will answer your questions first, coming from that community post. Once I go through that, then I will answer questions live through the chat. Okay. So, like always, you want to give me your name or nickname. If you've watched any of my other lives, I've talked about this. This just helps me be able to energetically connect to you. And I'm not great at reading the at usernames. So a name works better for me. Okay, so that is kind of the housekeeping stuff. Then for anyone who is watching this video or stumbling upon me for the first time, just a little background. I'm certified in galactic astrology. I'm certified as a human design reader and Gene Keys guide. I read the Akashic records, and I am a channeler and trance channeler. I channel galactic frequencies and energies. So the information that I'm going to share today in this live, hi, yay, thanks for joining. The information I'm going to share in this live today is coming from that background. Yes, I made it back. Beckett was able to help me look into it and troubleshoot. He's really good with the technology stuff. I not so much. I kind of just freeze up a little bit. So thank you to Beckett for that. So today, while you guys are logging on and joining me, what I'm sharing is I would love to kind of theme today's conversation around the collective energy. So if you have your astrology chart, you may want to take it takes a team, yes. You might want to take a moment and grab it. So pull your astrology chart, bring it up, and I just realized there is a share screen on here, which I've never realized before. So I'm going to see actually if I can share my screen and give you guys, for anybody watching, my favorite site to pull up. Now it is Mercury retrograde here, guys. So I'm asking technology to please be on my side. Okay. All right. So if you can, grab your astrology chart. If you're not sure, I'm going to show you really quick. All right, So I want to especially, while I'm pulling this up, I want to especially talk about log in. Okay, it's not going to work well for me. Again, I'm not going to keep trying. Okay, anyways. Okay, so yes, if you can get your astrology chart, have it handy. If you're not sure where to go, I like astro-seek.com or astro.com for astrology chart. So today we are going to be answering questions, but they're going to be as it relates to the topic we're discussing. Just a second. See, guys, this is why also I'm saying I love when the idea of the questions being beforehand, because I can flow a little easier, because it can be harder to answer in the chat. But today we are asking specific questions on astrology. Okay. Okay. All right. So I'm going to continue forward. So this is what I'm talking about. We're in an unusual time, and right now there is some interesting astrology taking place. One of the things is Uranus and Mars coming conjunct in Gemini. Now, I want to take a moment to talk about this. Okay. So if you know your astrology and you have a question of how this affects you, what I want to hear is you give me your first name or your nickname and say, I have Gemini is in my third house or fifth house, and see where Uranus is in that. And that is kind of what we're kind of looking at. Or if you just tell me what house you have Gemini in, I can help guide you enough through that. So basically what we're looking at is, where is this energy influencing you and why it's relevant? Why it is relevant is because when you have two energies so potent come together, which let's talk about this. Uranus, what does that mean? This is sudden disruption. This is electricity. This is the rebel. This is the aspect that says the way that you've been can't be anymore. There has to be change. You have to move forward. Okay, so this energy is joining with Mars. What is Mars? Mars is fire. Mars is a driving force. Mars can be an energy that can be tricky because it has to be balanced. So it can cause intensity. All right. These are meeting in Gemini. What does that mean? What is Gemini? Gemini, in its highest expression, is open-minded. It's curious. It takes things, entertains things lightly, but wants to kind of entertain multiple ideas. It wants to be open to new possibilities. It can be joyful and funny, and there's banter with Gemini. Now, on the shadow side, Gemini can be very like the expression of polarity. Sorry, I had to sneeze. The expression of polarity. It can be areas where in its shadow state can cause divide and rift. It's this is my way, or it can feel stubborn. You're not gonna convince it otherwise. The energy there can cause complications. So when we're looking at this collective energy right now, it's basically how I would best describe it is we're being stirred like on a very deep level to move forward. It's kind of like the baby bird on the edge of the nest that's like, jump already, move forward. That's Uranus's voice. Now, with that, it comes with these are my questions to you. What feels unsettling to you right now? Like in your life, what feels uncomfortable? What feels like circumstances that aren't satisfying? Areas that keep repeating, that you're feeling exhausted. Okay, it's those things that keep repeating that are like, look here. And the problem is with this Mars energy, we could get so frustrated and so tired of it and so intolerant of it that it's like we just want to have an outlet somewhere to kind of take the fire, of Mars and just and you might lash out, you might be irritated, you might throw tantrums, you might have all this energy stirring, this electricity and fire, and it's like, what do I do with this? Well, it's stirring up and provoking for change, for things to move forward. Okay, my galactic chart says Mars in my third house and Uranus is my second house. Okay, so we want to be looking at a transit chart. So that is very, very cool to share that. So my question would be more to you. Remind me, it says Patricia. I'm assuming that's your name. Patricia, where is Gemini? In what house is Gemini in your chart? So that's kind of what we want to look at. And we want to look at a transit chart. And I really want to be able to show you this. I wish my computer was working better, but it is not. It is what it is. So we want to be kind of looking at where these energies are presently. Okay, so if you say to me, I have Gemini in this house, that if you give me that, I can give you some information. Okay. The other thing I wanted to share with this real quick okay, perfect. Thank you. Gemini in my 11th house. Okay, so if you have Gemini in your 11th house, chances are fair that Mars and Uranus, if you were to pull a transit chart, are going to fall somewhere around in that house. I do Placidus. Some people do whole sign. So especially if it was a whole sign chart, absolutely. Okay, perfect, Sarah. Thank you. Gemini first house. Okay, so these are great, you guys. Second and third house, Gemini for me. Okay, Priscilla. Okay. I'm breathing because I really feel like I want to show you guys how to pull a transit chart. All right, I'm going to touch on these first really quickly. So Patricia, for you, if these energies are falling in your 11th house, the themes for you most likely will be around how you are showing up in the collective. how this is influencing your friend groups, your community groups. Where are you sharing these gifts? Are you engaging? Where are you maybe a story could be, I'm over giving. I'm constantly trying to assist and help. But maybe it's to, your detriment. And Uranus and Mars says, I'm tired of this. I don't want to experience this anymore. I want to have a healthy group that wants to be, we kind of align better. Or it could be ways where it's saying, maybe, Patricia, you don't go out and share. Maybe you're not participating. Maybe you're not connecting. Maybe you don't feel as comfortable to embody your fullest essence in, a larger collective, and you hide your light or you play small. Then these energies are going to say to you, step up. Like, it's time to embody the fullest essence. We all benefit when we all are embodying our fullest essence and sharing ourselves and our gifts and our abilities. So that could be just a couple of the themes that you can look at around this. Now, if it just so happens you have natal planets that are next to these aspects, it's going to intensify it even more. Okay. So, Sarah, Gemini first house, ascendant, super significant. This is going to have a lot to do with like how you're perceived, also your body. So it could have body themes to it. But how you're received, how you're perceived, and where, those things may be aligned or misaligned. So it's like looking at the whole chart helps, but I just want to give you guys an idea. So these energies here are going to be activating you in your first house. So there could be themes around how people are receiving the things you're saying, because Gemini is also connected to the intellect. It could be how people are receiving, or how you're getting in your way mentally with how you assume people are perceiving you. And there could be friction with Uranus and Mars saying, where again, are you showing up in your fullness despite what other people are perceiving it to be or not to be? How is embodiment of your fullness being in the world fully expressed? How is that contributing and helping? And are you honoring that and showing up in that? So these are some of the things. So let me see. Yeah, my mission is to connect with people, but I'm not doing okay. See, there you go. So that means, Patricia, with this energy, that means that it's like the cosmic weather is saying to us, no more. Like, it's time to take the leap. It's time to trust. It's time to move forward. It's time. And so as these energies are around, it's going to intensify that feeling, giving you, I'll give it to you two ways. Two ways to look at it. One is hello, thank you for joining. One way is you can look at this as it is giving you multiple opportunities to step forward. Okay, that's a nice way to say it. Now, the honest way to say it, so that would be like my Libra rising, which is softer, versus my Aries sun, which is direct. Perfect example for what we're talking about. The softer side says the collective energy right now is going to give you multiple opportunities to make a decision to step into your fullness. Okay, where the Aries side of me would say the collective weather right now, the part of me ruled by Mars, says the collective weather right now says you can make a choice. You can keep hiding, but you're going to be constantly be given circumstances that are going to want to push you out of the nest, because Uranus says it's time. Okay, so Same message, two different deliveries there. Okay, Margot, I have Gemini in the ninth house with Uranus at 26 degrees in Gemini. Okay, Margot, is that your natal chart or transit chart? If you can hear me. Oh, from Romania. Thank you so much for joining. We're talking about astrology and the current weather. So if you have an astrology question, you can share that with me. Okay. All right, natal chart, Margot. Okay, thank you. All right, guys, I'm just gonna, I've shared this before. I'm on the spectrum. I like routines. I don't get comfortable being put out of my box, and I'm nervous with my system acting weird, but I really feel inclined to show you how to pull a transit chart. So I'm just gonna go for it, and we're gonna fumble through this, okay? Be patient with me. We'll kind of navigate this craziness together. All right, here we go. This is my favorite site, astroseek.com. Okay, so this would be as if you don't have an account, you're going to come here. So, first, you're going to have to put in your natal chart information. So, we're going to go to, let's just do it this way, natal chart. We're going to just leave this how it is. We'll put this in there, calculate the chart. Missing coordinates. I didn't put enough. Okay, I'm trying to do it quickly. Let's say Miami. All right, born 19. This will work. Okay. So this is a natal chart, and I'm hoping you can see this. Can you guys see my screen being shared? I'm assuming you can. If you can, give me a chat saying that you can see my screen? Yes, thank you, Margot. Okay, so I'll continue. So this is a natal chart, would be when you are born, okay? But what we want to look at is a transit chart. So you're going to come to astroseek.com and you're going to go down, see where it says transit chart calculator. Okay, this is the chart we want to pull. So the first should be your date of birth. So I'll give you mine. Okay, I'm April 7th, 1980. And I was born 6:51. I speak out loud because it helps me focus. Come on. All right, guys. And if you're just tuning in, I'm showing you how to pull your chart. Columbus. Okay, so the top is going to be our birth information. So this was the date of birth, time of birth, and place. Then where it says transit, you want to put today or whatever day. I'm talking about this perfect conjunction is going to be on July 4th. So I'm going to put July 4th, and let's just say midnight. And wherever your location you're pulling it from, let's see here. I'm in Sarah's. Come on. There we go. Calculate chart. This is your transit chart. Okay. The inner aspects will be your natural natal placement. So the outer is the transits. Okay, so Gemini, outer, here we have Uranus and Mars coming together. Now, you guys see how this says 3-3? Both of these are conjunct at 3 degrees. Now, as you can see, my natal chart, I just so happen to have Venus at 4 degrees, which is my chart ruler. And I can share more about that later. If anybody wants to know what your chart leader is, leave a question in the chat and let me know if you want me to elaborate on that. Now, if you look down, and this is the piece I want you guys to look at, see how this says 8? Okay, so these energies are in my 8th house. Okay, so even though normally my Uranus is way over here, okay, and my Mars is way over here. But we're looking at the transit because that's going to be the current energetic influence of these energies. So we want to look at these energies where they are currently on your chart. So in my chart, Gemini, it kind of splits between two houses, but it's in my 8th house. Okay? So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. Hopefully that helped. Okay, yes, we can see it. All right, so even if you want to look at it later after the live, that is what you want to look at, is your transit chart, where those energies are. So for example, those energies in my 8th house, that means the energy with Uranus and Mars right now is activating Pluto territory for me. So it's death, rebirth, transformation, joint finances, intimacy, how I'm connecting or opening up to others. This is also connected to Scorpio, occult like. So Uranus in the last, since it has gotten close, I am electrified. My channel has been like constant at any moment. I'm hearing and highly activated because it's in that, territory that is connected to that realm. Okay, so that is what I wanted you guys to get with that. So you can kind of look at your own chart, find out where that is. So let me know if you guys have now any astrology questions. Okay, so chart leader is a ruler of the ascendant or the guiding planet. Yes, perfect. So whatever your rising sign is, so for example, I'm Libra, so my ruling planet is Venus. So in the chart, you look at where Venus is, and then that means that in my energy, my embodiment, that energy will play a large influence in my experience in this life. So, for example, mine, Venus in the 8th house in Gemini, it's played out in many different ways. For one, I was never interested or following anything spiritual. I had a spontaneous spiritual awakening at a solar eclipse in Gemini. So it was like death, rebirth, transformation. That's 8th house. Gemini, open, curious in its highest expression. So that solar eclipse bursted open my mind to deeper conscious layers, the void, also very, very much in the realms of that energy. So that energy also influences how I show up. I do go through lots of transformations in my life, and how I express. Also, with Gemini being communication, that placement, I think it influences me as a channeler, as well as my natal Mercury and Pisces. Okay, Mars and Uranus on 7th house. Thank you for your teaching. Okay, beautiful, Sarah. Thank you. So I'm assuming, Sarah, you're saying that this is your transit chart. So if this is in your 7th house, Sarah, for you, this energy is going to be highlighting your one-on-one relationships. So intimate relationships, marriage, spouse, partnership, committed relationships, as well as any sort of important business relationships or people that you are collaborating in big ways with. So with this energy of Gemini, you want, yes, transit chart. So I would imagine, Sarah, in your life right now, there's going to be a lot of focus on how you're handling your relationships, how you show up in your relationships. Are the expressions mutual? Where are you possibly tolerating things that Uranus is like, no, you deserve better than this, and Mars maybe is, it could also be equally in frustrated. I'm ready for something, better, or I'm not going to tolerate that anymore, or I'm going to speak my truth. Gemini, I'm going to speak my truth. That is another energy. Or what are you thinking? Are your thoughts preventing you from experiencing the reality that you want? Here's the other layer I'm going to add to you guys, and that's human design. So, where these two energies are activating is in gate 20. So, that's another fun aspect. If you wanted to look up, or if you know, in human design, if you have gate 20, but if you don't, it doesn't matter. It's still being activated collectively. So, what does this mean? Gate 20 is all about the now. It is a call to presence, to be in this moment, and to be allowing yourself not to be controlled or the narrative influenced by the past, and not allow the narrative to be too far into the future. A couple examples of this. Maybe these energies make you feel scattered. That it wouldn't be surprising with Gemini. And your mind is thinking, well, I want this relationship to work out, or I want to grow in this relationship. But I remember the last time I opened up and tried this or that it didn't work out and I got burned, and I don't want to experience that again. Well, then you're constantly repeating that cycle. You're basically communicating to the universe, okay, I am in this reality, and that will continue to be my lived experience. Where the gate 20 asks you to be present, can you be present? So, what is of your present moment being influenced by your mind from past circumstances? Is it actually that? Can you find new signals in your environment? I've openly shared with you guys vulnerably that I realized in my past I wasn't open in relationships as much as I thought I was. It was fueled by the past. I've had to retrain my brain what it looks like to have different expressions of, love language, what it's like to recognize an individual and allow them to be who they are without applying past circumstances. Or maybe in your relationship, you're thinking, I want them to look like this thing. I'm sure they'll get there. Or you're so far into the future that you're allowing yourself to be tolerant to things you shouldn't in your present. Can you bring it back to the present? Can you be honest with what your present experience is and shape your reality fresh and new from there? So that is some of the information. I'm frustrated, but I'm not going to, I am learning to appreciate my own company. Beautiful. Gate 20, South. Oh, wow. Okay, South Node in Gemini. Interesting. Yeah. Is that, Sarah, is that your natal? Just to be clear, that would be your, because the nodes aren't in Gemini. So you're saying that's your natal placement, Sarah? If you can hear me, just to be clear on that. Which is interesting because my chart ruler that I talked about is Venus is in gate 20. So I know what it's like to have to try to pull yourself into the present. And in human design, my core wound, which is your unconscious Mars, is in 64, which also has difficulty being present and focuses a lot on the past. So between the two of them, I'm constantly being tried to be pulled into, the present reality. So yes, so these energies, that's another important aspect of what we're experiencing currently collective. Now, another piece I want to add that I think is fascinating, and like I said, if you have questions regarding the astrology or specifically what we're sharing, Yes, natal placement. Oh wow. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that 20, yeah, I'm sure is an energy that you've experienced in your life. So that is interesting. So it is lining up. That energy is definitely activating that. Yeah. Gemini natal is sliced up in the end of fifth. Rules over the sixth and seventh house. We have something in common. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Um, okay, so the other thing I want to add is a note to, and how do I say this? So, this is the other thing I want to say. You'll notice actually, as much as I love astrology, human design, galactic astrology, all these placements, you won't find on my channel that I'm constantly talking about this is what the full moon is, this is what this is a present energy. And that's because, in my own personal experience, for the most part, I try to live again in presence. So I like to try to experience things first and then kind of look at astrology and be like, oh, what does that mean? And part of the reason I feel like I do that is because also we can notice that there can be specific language often shared about astrology that isn't entirely encompassing. The important thing to understand is that there is a very intuitive flow to astrology. I look at it as quantum. One thing can be looked at in two completely different ways and both be true, but it's relevant to you and your life circumstances, which is why I think a lot of times people can look at astrology, horoscopes, and say, well, my day didn't go anything like that. Or, I didn't feel that at all, which is why also I like to look at human design because it can bring that energy more nuanced. So, for example, what I demonstrated, we can talk about these energies with Uranus and Mars and Geminis, but there's a key portion of that when we look at the gate in human design. It is about being in the present. And so here you can see the friction point even clearer as we add that additional layer. Oh, that's awesome. So, but I am talking about this because my guide said talk about it. It's relevant. But what I want to say is this: keep in mind, in the next months, in the next probably year, you're probably going to have a lot of language crossing your path that talks about what is or what isn't and associating it to astrology. Like, I'll give you an example. I saw a meme recently and they talked about Leo, and where Jupiter is currently, and then Aquarius where Pluto is, and they're almost opposite right now. Okay, and it was something where it felt like they picked sides. The focus was on Aquarius over winning Leo, and I looked at it and I said yes and no. And I'll give you an example of this and what I mean. So, if we look at these energies simplistically, first you can say that Leo, there's leadership, there's a presence of being seen, but there's also the heart. Leo is the heart. Okay. Jupiter is expansion. It's good luck and fortune, but also in its shadow, it's when we don't know how to stop growing, over expansion. Okay. Well, if we look at Aquarius and Pluto, well, Pluto, a big part is personal power, but Pluto can often get a bad rep of, oh, brother, Pluto, the tower, but actually, Pluto's goal is personal power. It's for that positive growth, the full acknowledgement or honoring of the death rebirth cycle. If we look at Aquarius, it is the rebel, yes, but it's also connected to the collective consciousness. It has that humanitarian effort. All right. So we can look at this in many different ways. One person can look at the chart and say that, you know, Jupiter in Leo's the big bad political guy, and Aquarius is the misunderstood little guy. It can feel like David and Goliath. It could be like, oh, look at you, tiny Pluto. You think you're going to knock me down with your little stone, and you can see corruption and over expansion in Leo and the dictators, the leaders, the world, whatever you want to apply the story to. But that's one story. That might not be your story, and it might not be your experience. There are many ways to look at it. Another way to look at it is it's the heart and the mind. Leo being seen, can you be seen from a place of love and authenticity that you participate with the collective? We're bringing them together. Can you be where you are? And maybe when you're there, Jupiter blesses you and you expand and there's growth and new opportunities come. Why? Because you're participating. You're being seen participating. Okay. So there are so many different expressions. So I just wanted to say, be mindful with what you are looking at, because what I can say without a shadow of a doubt, with the information I've channeled, one of the most consistent things that come up is pay attention to what stories you're telling yourself. And that is part of this energy of gate 20. It's like, where are the stories? Are they too far in the past? Are they too far in the future? What is it you are saying, mine, Gemini, that's defining your present lived experience? Okay, that was my little piece I felt like I wanted to share. Okay, I observed that if I observe it, I totally change the outcome. Yes, exactly. I don't know your first name, Shadow Shadow Cat. I'd love to know it, especially if you come, just so I can connect with you in energetically, a name or nickname. Okay. So, yes. All right. But that is, yes, exactly the point. Is a lot of times if we observe something, like if we are overly forward looking, we then begin to shape that reality of our lived experience in different ways or influences, where I feel like I like to organically feel into it. Unless like it's something relevant. So, but with that though, that's why I say also you can look at it, but also understand how it actually manifests or plays out can look very different than what your mind may want to come up or to think about, which is so fun because that is also part of the gate that Mercury retrograde is in right now in Cancer, is in gate 62. And this is all about details. So this is where the mind can get obsessed over the details of how it feels it should or shouldn't play out. But Cancer is also intuition and softness. And it comes into that energy that says, okay, I can align this and feel present and come into the inner knowing and not operate only from what the mind can come up with as, possible explanation. So there's just the astrology right now is quite literally riddled with energy that syncs up to a beautiful story. And I just love that the galactic piece is all connected to it as well, which the most fascinating piece I found when I did this study is on July 4th, Atlantis, the asteroid, is literally lined up perfectly as well at 3 degrees, the same degrees as Uranus and Mars. in Gemini. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. Those little neat nuggets are things I love because it's like, of my brain goes like, of all the possible odds of where that asteroid could be, it's fascinating that it's right there. It's like team Uranus and Mars changing the world, and we're gonna sit and witness it and see how y'all go about it differently than we did. So I don't know. I find it fascinating. Okay. All right. I just want to take a moment here and see before I go. I'm just going to open it up now to any questions in the last few minutes here that you guys would have. Okay, what does Atlantis mean for the collective? Good question. Okay, so I think that this has different meanings and expressions. It's fascinating. Oh gosh, I have so many rabbit holes I could go down with this. I just did a live with Beckett on Substack, and we actually touched a little bit on this as it relates to somebody he discovered that talks about plasma and how we misunderstand plasma. And in the podcast, it was said that basically Atlantis in part had more access to our fullest magical potential, but we weren't consciously evolved enough at the time to really know exactly what to do with it. So it became corrupt. And okay, it's raining, so my signal is acting up. So hopefully it stays. So to answer your question, what does it mean for the collective? In part, I think what we're going through is we're coming back to revisit like a full circle. The concept of, can I be my most magical, my most intuitive, my most aware sense of self in this incarnated earth experience? So that's why I feel like in my channelings I've done, and you've heard me talk about, I'll say I've heard that what is currently the black sheep or the abnormal will become the normal. So meaning the mystical will be more a part of our everyday experience, but not in the sense of we're ascending or disappearing, but in the sense of that we live lives out of the spiritual closet, and we are no longer so separate, but we honor connection and individuality, the me within the we, which is another video that I've done that was channeled from the Acturians, where they said the most important question a human can ask themselves is, how can I be the me within the we? Which, if you listen to various channelers, astrologers, spiritualists, there's a lot of conversation about a big part of what we're coming to is we have to come back to unity and connection. So there is kind of that dismantling of various powers and control. In the history of Atlantis, there is a theme of manipulation or imbalance of power and control that ultimately caused destruction. So I feel like we're at a destiny point collectively. And I think having that asteroid sitting right there is like playing witness and influencing the idea of be innovative, dream of the future, but do it better than they did. So hopefully that answers your question there. Yeah. Barbara. Okay. Okay. So great to meet you. Thank you. Okay. Or juniper too, if I'm saying that right. Did I say that right? That's beautiful. Thank you so much for joining today and sharing. I missed it up earlier. Sorry about that. Okay, amazing. Let the good times roll. Yes, exactly. Exactly. That's where, okay, Patricia, that's perfect. That's very Gemini. That's a positive expression of Gemini. It's like, listen, I'm open minded. I don't know where this is going. I know it has to change, but let the good times roll. Let's go through it. I'm gonna live every day present, that 20, and find where can I savor the present moment? Where can I allow the present moment regardless of the past or future, where can I just like be in this moment? So that's like very fitting in theme of energy of where we're going. Okay, awesome. Thank you, Margot. Wonderful. All right, guys. Well, this was a little bit all over the place for me with the technical glitches, and I know I rabbit trailed a little bit and sharing my screen, but I stretched myself beyond my comfort zone. And it worked, and it'll be easier next time. Ooh, that's something else I want to share. One of the reasons why I love the work I do and why I think it's fun to know more about yourself and your soul's history is because a lot of times when we look at it as we're taking something on the first time, it can feel a lot more overwhelming. But when we can breathe and come into self and understand more of our soul's experience and journey, a lot of times we realize we've done this before. We've done this before. Like we've gone through things like this before. The gifts you're not sure of, you've done it before. You might feel nervous about your intuition. Guess what? You've done it before. It's not new. You're not inventing the wheel here. It's in your DNA. It's in your essence. You've done it before. And when we understand ourselves and our soul's journey and experience, and it allows us to, I think, be a little more comfortable and coming to a place where, like, okay, this is a part of me. This is a part of me, and I've done this before. And the next time will be easier, and the next time will be easier. So that's, I guess, the last little nugget I wanted to share with you. And if you do decide, oh, well done on Mercury retrograde. Thank you. It's been crazy. I've had my computer die on me twice now. One was on a live I did on Substack. So it's been a journey. But if you do want to learn more about yourself and you want to uncover some of those magical aspects you've done before that are part of who you are, and you want to learn more about what's ahead for you, there's all sorts of ways you can work with me. Reach out, check out my website. It's just CassandraDeanne.com. I'll put the links in the description, and I would love to connect more personally with you. So thank you guys for coming and sharing. Oh, lastly, I feel like my nervous system is, yeah, that's Uranus. The music can feel, especially if you're vibrationally sensitive, you can, because of the intensity, feel it more potent. And I honestly, with all my heart, think the more you have your natal chart is equally potent to these energies, that they're magnified. So, for example, I said I'm an Aries ruled by Mars, so I'm feeling that Mars intensity. Also, it's on my chart ruler in Venus, so the channeling aspect in the eighth house has been intensified. So yes, that nervous system is Uranus. Sensitivity to, yeah, music, watching, spending more time in nature. Yes, grounding, present, beautiful. That's great. But you are one of the few who, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. But yes, you are exactly feeling what you're feeling is the current energy weather, which is why in part I think my guides told me about it early, because they knew I would probably feel electrified for half of July. So yeah, yes. A good question. So for a one, like a one question session. So what I have available is for the smallest time is a 30-minute Akashic Records reading session with me, or what I call channeling session. And this is a little open because I can look at charts as well. So if you did have one question for astrology and that time, I can look at the charts. I'm just not going into past lives in that session in 30 minutes. So I can give you the link if anybody is interested in just so deanne.com. I'll attach the link so you can check that out and see if it fits for you and the timing. But the 30-minute session, to answer your question, would probably be the best way to kind of look at that. Now, I'll be honest, you'll probably get a lot more out of that because the energy does move through me fairly quickly. But yes, that would be the best option for that. So yeah. But yes, everybody breathe through, be present, and stay in touch. Keep an eye out for the community post that I'm going to share. If a question comes up, if you can post it there for me to revisit the next live, oh, that would be so helpful. And I will start with those questions. All right, everybody, thank you so much. Have a good one. Happy 4th of July, if that applies to you, if you're in the US. Okay, take care.